It was the first of its kind in the country when it opened in 2020, and today the Albany County Sheriff is taking his homeless improvement program to the next level. It started when Sheriff Craig Apple turned an obsolete wing of the jail into a temporary home for men who needed help getting back on their feet. And today, another first, dedicated space for homeless women and their children.
We want it to be homey. We don't want it to be institutionalized.
The concrete walls were once to punish. Now they protect. Here inside a decommissioned section of the Albany County Jail, a space that's welcoming. It all started a few years ago. Albany County Sheriff Craig Apple was finding that many, if not most, of the people who were being released from prison and jail were ending up homeless. He had space in the county jail. Fewer people were being locked up for drug possession, so he turned a wing into this home for the homeless.
So we had this open wing. Everybody kind of was like, oh my God, I can't believe he's doing this. But then everybody fell in love with the project. And
the jail gates have been turned into doors that can be opened from both sides. It opened in 2020 for men who were trying to get back on their feet. All the services they need to find a job, save money, and get their own place. Occasionally, a woman was allowed to stay here.
I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Women like Carla Johnson, who says her time here saved her life. And today, a major expansion. This brand new wing for women and their children. 45 additional rooms, 2 suites, reconfigured space made up of 3 former cells to accommodate people who have children. It's all made possible by a $500,000 federal grant and donations from many, including Broadview and its CEO.
I thought they were a financial institution. We are.
Carla Johnson is moving into her new place in Schenectady this week, 8 months after she was on the verge of living in her car. She's thrilled that other women will now have the opportunity to get back on track here.
My heart is just swelled because it's the safety and the recognition of they're going to be helped and they're not going to understand the help that they are about to receive and how it's going to set them back on track.
We never did this before, and we're still learning every day. But you know what? When you see somebody come in and at the absolute rock bottom and leave and come back and talk to the others about their transition and their transformation, man, if that doesn't pull on your heartstrings, nothing will.
It's bipartisan too. The support. Clearly, the sheriff is passionate about this and says the program saves taxpayers money because it's much less than the cost of incarceration. Coming up at 6, one of the first women to move into the new space tells us what it means for her.
Groundbreaking. The space was there, and he came up with a new way to use it.
Why not?
Exactly.
Right?
There's a new safety net tonight for women specifically who just happen to be down on their luck with no place to turn to and no place to live. The Albany County Correctional Facility has turned a former wing of one of their jails into a special space for women who are experiencing homelessness. Sheriff Craig Apple gave our own Mark Mulholland a special tour of this new space today. Mark, tell us what it's all about.
Well, good evening, Steve. The sheriff calls it SHIP, which stands for Sheriff Homeless Improvement Program. It's been so successful since it opened in 2020. The sheriff expanded it today to now have dedicated space for women and their children. You won't typically find celebrations inside a jail, but today was different. It was the opening of a newly renovated wing. What used to be cells are now small bedrooms for women and, in some cases, their children. This is the latest part of the sheriff's initiative to provide housing for people who would otherwise be homeless. He opened a no longer needed jail wing as a place for people to stay and get back on their feet, get a job, and save some money. The sheriff says it has a nearly 75% success rate, meaning more than 7 out of 10 people who stay here get a job and their own place. And now this space for women and parents with children.
I actually wanted to do the whole side, but then I thought, well, let's see how it goes.
What was this? Well,
this is just like the other side. We just added this shell.
Got it.
To encapsulate these 3 rooms.
Got it.
To create that atmosphere where mom could lock that door and still have her children out here, maybe bring some toys in here and have her own private space until they can regroup and get better housing.
Got it. And you have 2 of these. Now, coming up at 6, how the sheriff says the program is saving taxpayer money. And we'll also talk to a young woman who is among the first to move in. Steve?
Oh, what a great little initiative. Thank you for that, Mark. And especially important in times like this when you've got so much freezing weather that we're dealing with. Being homeless in New York at a time like this is scary.
Well, it was the first of its kind when it opened a few years ago. And tonight, the Albany County Sheriff Homeless Improvement Program, or SHIP, is expanding, turning another wing of the jail into a place for home and for hope.
We want it to be homey. We don't want it to be institutionalized.
The concrete walls were once to punish. Now they protect. Here inside a decommissioned section of the Albany County Jail, a space that's welcoming. It all started a few years ago. Albany County Sheriff Craig Apple was finding that many of the people being released from prison and jail were ending up homeless. He had space in the county jail, so he turned a wing into this home for the homeless.
This is literally the only county jail in operation or closed down that is housing homeless in the country.
It opened in 2020 for men who were trying to get back on their feet. All the services they need to find a job, save money, and get their own place. Occasionally, women stay here too. And today, a major expansion. This brand new wing for women and their children. 45 additional rooms, including reconfigured space made up of 3 former cells to accommodate people who have children. It's all made possible by a $500,000 federal grant and donations from many, including Broadview and its CEO.
I'm really excited about the space in here.
Deja Thomas is among the very first to move into the new wing, hoping it will be just what she needs to get her life on track.
Being over here is going to make me so excited. I like that we are separated, you know what I mean? Very exciting.
And her goal is to soon be working not far from where she's living for the next few weeks.
I want to be a correctional officer. I'm working on that right now. And by God's will, and everything's going to work out for me.
My staff did this. My staff built this. My staff works here and houses
Your
this.
enthusiasm and passion for it is contagious.
Yeah.
Right?
That's fair.
That's what it is.
That's fair.
He's always humble and eager to share the credit. The sheriff says it costs far less to provide housing than it does to incarcerate.
The stuffed animals, the games for the kids, it already looks inviting.
Making it as homey as possible, right?
Great work.